down, Chicago Bears. Make every play clear the way to victory. Bear down, Chicago Bears. Put up a fight with a might so fearlessly. We'll never forget the way you thrilled the nation with your T formation. Bear down, Chicago Bears, and let them know why you're wearing the crown. You're the pride and joy of Illinois. Chicago Bears, bear down.
Well, happy Friday, Bears fans. I hope that you are enjoying your day and are getting ready for the game to come this weekend. I'm very excited. Opening game. Me and my daughter are going to be taking up residency on the couch. She's already got the snacks planned, and we are super excited. Just going to do a little bit of a preview like I talked about previously. That's what I'm going to be doing with this channel of the game to come up. Gonna give you kind of some things to watch for, some highlights, things that you might enjoy, insights into the game, and we can go from there. I'll try to dialogue with you guys in the chat, but again, these aren't live videos, so it'll be as I can catch in and tag in and tag out. As you know, the Bears are playing the Vikings this week, and there's going to be a little bit of unknown here because the Vikings appear to be starting McCarthy. So that means that we're going to have really an unknown quantity as far as the NFL goes to play with in this game. So there's going to be a little give and take in this analysis, given what we've seen in the preseason, given what we've seen from his college play. But again, I don't want to peg this kid because, as we've seen over and over and over again, just because you did something well in college or you were good at something in college, like, say, Fields throwing from the pocket at Ohio State, doesn't mean you're going to be good at it when you get to the NFL. So let's give this kid some space. Let's see what he becomes. But we do have some tendencies that we can look at based upon Wes Phillips, who is the offensive coordinator for the Vikings, and we can kind of see where he's going to go and what he's going to look to do. So with that, let's begin to dig in to our analysis. All right, so here we go. We are looking at the Chicago Bears versus the Vikings offense and defense. We're going to be looking at this one right here. As you can see, the Vikings play a standard 34 defense, or at least it looks standard. I'm about to tell you why it's not in just a second, but hold on to that thought, okay? So with a base 34 defense, especially with the offensive linemen that the Bears have, mainly you're going to try to exploit two gaps. You're going to try to exploit the guard tackle gap here on the left side of the line, and you're going to try to exploit the center guard gap here on the right side of the line. Getting to the outside against a 34 can be a little tough. We're going to switch that over to base personnel so you can see that. So again, right here, that guard tackle gap, and right here, that center guard gap. Getting to the outsides can be a little tough because of the contain of the outside linebackers who have a good field of vision on that outside contain. So really, it's getting your run game, especially since we have a zone running game, up into these attack alleys here. Obviously, knowing Ben Johnson and the fact that he loves to motion players over, I would expect a lot of motion to get pre-snap flow in order to set up cutback lanes for the zone run. So, they'll start off attacking here, and if the defense flows hard, that could turn back, cut up between the guard and the center, or even bounce all the way back, a la Barry Sanders in the 90s, depending upon kind of how the defense flows and what goes with that. So a lot of opportunity there against a base 3-4. In nickel, it's pretty much like everybody else, but as you're looking at these players, obviously the Minnesota defensive ends versus the run don't have the best grade, so this may be an opportunity to attack the outside. I would look for Johnson to at least begin and open up the game by running to the outside with that outside zone. We know that that's kind of that comes out of the coaching tree that he comes from, that West Coast hybrid system. He's not quite the West Coast vertical that Sean McVay is. He's more of a West Coast spread kind of hybrid offense. So look for him to stretch the field. He loves that outside zone run scheme. You may see it at an ace with motion. You may see a little bit of I. Again, we don't have a fullback, so I is not really our friend as a team. You're probably going to see a considerable amount of shotgun because Swift does really well when he can see those running lanes develop, and being put back in shotgun means that he gets a few more steps where he can take a look at that line as opposed to having to worry about the mesh point with the quarterback coming back from under center like you're going to get in an ace formation, 11 personnel, 12 personnel, things like that. So that would be the running game. As far as the passing game, especially when Minnesota is in nickel, we know a few things about Brian Flores' defense. First of all, his defense, one of the key things they try to do is they try very hard to get you to overextend. So what they're going to do is they're going to disguise their coverage. They're going to try to get you out of alignment and out of position because you're going to adjust to this disguised coverage. And then once the ball is snapped and it's not what you think it is, you're in the wrong position. They've put you out of position, and suddenly you're having to make adjustments on the fly that aren't really fair. One such example is they love to, they have a look that they do where it looks like man coverage. They'll have somebody flow over, and built into the defense is a zone adjustment. So as the wide receiver motions across and the nickelback goes with him, the Vikings have already pre-built in, okay, depending on where that player stops and how far we motion over, the zone adjusts a certain way. So the motion, which normally tells you man or zone, looks like man because you're following the man across. You're staying with your receiver. It looks man on the other side. But all of a sudden, once the ball is snapped, they've rolled their zone coverage based on that motion, and suddenly your quarterback looking at zone instead of man. So suddenly you're planning to hit the crossing route, or you're planning to hit the hitch route, and suddenly there's a guy standing right there because it's zone coverage, and you have to check back a little bit and go to another read, and that can cause just a little bit of a hiccup. Brian Flores is really good at that, really disguising those coverages. He plays 6, he plays 9. He loves to keep 2 safeties back, minimum, sometimes 3. He's known to even line up with 3 safeties. 2 safeties in the back and 1 up in the box, and roll them out into a dime look, 3 safeties high, cover 3. That's just something that you have to understand. Other things to understand: he does play a 34, but it's not quite a true 34 in that one of his players is always, in this case, it's Van Ginkel, I think. Yes, Van Ginkel is kind of more of a hybrid player. He could put his hand in the dirt. He could stand back and play that outside linebacker spot. So he has a variation of the 34 where it ends up being almost a multiple, because he will occasionally walk that player up and put his hand in the dirt, giving you a 40 look, even though his responsibility stays that outside contained flat area, like in a 3-4, say against a cover 3 where he has to get out in that flat, or a man where he has to man up against the running back going out into that flat. So it's interesting because he'll put his hand in the dirt and look like a 40 front, and all of a sudden he gets up and takes off into a zone, or he'll man out on a running back instead of rushing the passer. So you can't quite say that guy is always going to rush just because he comes and he puts his hand in the dirt. And in doing so, Flores creates confusion for the offense, because you've got a guy there, he's on the line, he's put his hand in the dirt, and he's not coming, or he's standing at that outside linebacker spot, he's taken a wide stance. You expect him to go with the receiver, and suddenly he blitzes from a position that's almost more like a nickel blitz from where he's starting. And so Flores tries really hard to disguise what he's doing to make you kind of guess around and try to figure out what he's got going on. So you can expect a lot of that. He's going to try very hard to confuse Caleb Williams. He's going to try to make sure that Williams is not comfortable with what he's reading pre-snap into post-snap. So he's going to read one thing pre-snap. As soon as the ball goes, all of a sudden he's going to have to be adjusting on the fly, going, oh, no, what is this, what is this, what is this? Kind of play with his head a little bit. It's going to be up to Caleb to really understand what those routes are versus the different coverages, where he's going. And once he reads that that post-snap coverage and sees what's developing, he's going to have to think fast, and he's going to have to put that ball where it needs to go. He does run a ton of blitzes. He changes his personnel on third down. He has a smalls package, which is what I'm choosing to call it, where he will go 4 defensive ends across the entire line. So there is the opportunity against a third, like a third and medium situation, where the Bears may choose to run for that yardage as opposed to pass for it. And some fans are going to be like, why in the world would you do that? Well, the answer is, and I'm kind of going to get out ahead of this, if Johnson decides to do that, it's going to be because Flores is known for putting in a small package, and you have a very light front across those 4 players in the nickel defense, and he thinks he can get them moved off their spot in order to create a hole for the running back in order to pick up that yardage. So don't be surprised if we get into a third and medium and suddenly you see, it's like 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, and you see them run the ball with Swift, and even if they don't get it, some fans are going to be like, why would you do that? Well, Johnson's not out of his mind. If he does that, he's playing the numbers based on the personnel that Minnesota is known for putting out there. Moving over to the other side, you'll see the Bears play a base 4-3 versus Minnesota. Wes Phillips is from the McVay school, which means he's going to play that hybrid West Coast vertical game. So you can expect the Bears to be tested deep at least twice, maybe 3 times this game, unless it's very successful, and then it may be far more than that. That he will stretch the defense vertical in order to set up running lanes underneath. He does tend to have some zone run in his arsenal, so you're going to see a good bit of outside zone, some inside zone. They're not much of a power rushing team. They don't get behind a fullback and put the ball up. They don't get into an ace formation and do a whole lot of, full speed ahead right behind a 300-pound, 330-pound offensive lineman. That's just not it. They move the line horizontally along their blocking scheme, and they expect the back to decide the hole that he's going to based on where the defense flows to. Very similar to how the Bears do it, except the Bears are much more outside zone, whereas Minnesota tends to be a little more balanced. They tend to go inside and outside zone. So that's something the Bears are going to have to adjust to. Billings is a big cat. He can absolutely clog up the middle, but that doesn't help if he clogs up the middle, but somebody else over pursues, like Dexter or Dangbo or even Sweat. To a certain extent, they overextend, they create a crease in the line, and suddenly that back cuts back through that space. They're going to have to stay disciplined. They're going to have to maintain their gap integrity. This is a single gap system. I am responsible for this gap in my running assignment. So when they snap the ball, I'm going to secure the A gap, the B gap, the C gap, whichever gap it is, and I'm going to stay in that gap, and I can't get pushed out of there. I have to secure that gap on the line of scrimmage so that the linebackers can cover their sole gap, and we can plug this thing all the way across the board. If we over pursue, if we move too much, if we think it's outside zone and we move too far, we get out of our gap towards where the ball is going, we are going to create big time cutback lanes, and they're going to gash us by virtue of the fact that we've shifted the front down, we've been blocked down, and now there's a huge gap on the back side. We are going to look at that in just a second when we get to the videos, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. There's a play that the Lions have which will show this concept so you can see it. As far as passing, a lot of West Coast concepts. You can expect Kyler Gordon to be challenged often. You're probably going to see a lot of passes over the middle, short and intermediate passes. They're going to focus on getting the ball into that 5 to 8 yard window, unless they're trying to stretch you vertically. They know that the Bears don't blitz a lot. Now, again, new defensive coordinator. I don't want to say what he will or won't do, because he has tendencies based on what he did, but he's got new personnel here, and frankly, they're not exactly what I'd call the cream of the crop pass rusher. Sweat has a lot of talent, but has been down. We know that Edmonds and Edwards both have talent in getting to the quarterback. Edwards has shown it a lot more than Edmonds. And we know that Edmonds is more of a cover 2, Tampa 2 kind of linebacker. So switching into a base 3-4, he's going to have to cover a much shallower middle zone and or be rushing at the quarterback in a blitz package. That's something that he has done less of throughout his career. We're going to have to see how he adjusts to that in a base setting. Now, of course, in nickel, you'll have Edwards and Edmonds on the field together, kind of taking those underneath zones. So Edmonds should be more at home in that scenario. So looking at the film, there are a couple plays here that I want us to look at that I think will help us understand where we're going. So the first is going to be at, and again, this is the final week of last season. We're looking at the Lions versus the Vikings. You can watch the all-22 tape on NFL.com if you have that package. We're going to get to 135, which this should be close enough. 131. We're gonna watch them line up. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to let the play out for you. Then we're going to talk about it, and then we're going to watch it from the other side of the all-22 and see how that works. So here is one insight on how the Bears might be attacking the Vikings on Sunday. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're expecting here. All right, so you have trips, 11, but the back has come out, so this is actually a running back over here. I know you can't necessarily see that. So here's your tight end. You have trips here. Now again, interesting look here. You've got two safeties sitting here, 1 and 2. So clearly this looks like cover 2 on your initial read. However, if you look way over by the opposite 40, you see that cornerback is backed off, which tells us this could easily roll into 3. So again, as a quarterback, I'm looking at this going, okay, 2, splitting the hashes, should be cover 2. However, we've got a big walk-off on the other side, which means these two could easily roll down, and he goes back, and now we're in 3. However, look over here, and you're going to see that the all of your cornerback personnel are pushed up on the receivers as if it's man. Again, Flores is trying to play with Goff's head. So what is it? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it man? It's an interesting concept to make the quarterback unsure about what he's seeing in the pre-snap. Flores is trying really hard to disguise what he's doing here, and the quarterback has to kind of diagnose this. Now, what we're going to see here is we're going to see this receiver is going to come up. He's going to grab this corner. He's going to run at the inside shoulder of that safety. I don't know if you can't see my mouse, so your bottom corner receiver here is going to run at the corner and then come to the inside shoulder of this safety on a post route and try to take them and carry them. Your second receiver up is going to come straight down the field in a bit of a streak pattern, and he's going to try to pull this defensive back along with him. That would put 3 defensive backs on the hash right there at 10 yards back. That should create a nice big pocket of space over by that 40-yard marker closest to the bottom of your screen. Now, that backside receiver is going to start by running out at his DB and then he's going to make a cut and he's going to come across the middle. So what you should have is a clear out effect here. So if it's man, which we're going to see in a second, this is a hybrid man, like a two-man. You're going to see these guys are going to take their people. This guy's going to float over, creating 3 in the same zone with only 2 receivers, which guarantees to leave somebody open. And as that receiver comes down, you're going to see suddenly, oh boy, he's open. Okay, so here you go. There's your post. There's your 3-on-2 right there. Now you got a rub route right there where this guy's coming in. He's pulled his defensive back. He's about to cross the face of that corner who's trailing the receiver running the drag route. Okay, now again, he can't make contact with him. That would draw a flag. So instead, what he's going to do is he's just going to run kind of through him, and he's going to make him take a step to make sure he doesn't bump the receiver and get a penalty, again creating even more separation for this receiver coming across. Obviously, once the ball is snapped, you see that 1-2, we're in 2-man. You have your 2 safeties, and then everybody else is manned up on a receiver. Goff reads it perfectly. He understands where he's going. He knows that rub route is coming. You can already see him beginning his throwing motion. He knows right where he's going with the ball. Bang. Oh, missed tackles will kill you in the NFL. You can deal with a lot, but missed tackles will always kill you in the NFL. Now, in our defense, or in our offense, you're probably looking at DJ Moore being over there on that side, whereas Odunze would be on the other side, being the bigger, taller threat, coming down the field running that post. So you're probably looking at Moore coming across the field on that one. And if Williams hits the same throw, with Moore's ability to break tackles and make people miss, you could be off to the races. That could be a 15, 20-yard gain in the right scenario. Let's see it now on the all-22, straight down the field. You can kind of see what the quarterback's seeing. Okay, there he goes. He sees it. He knows what's going on. Okay, he sees the man. Boom. Sees man coverage. Comes across. Snap. There we go. Makes him miss. Off he goes. Gaining extra yardage. Again, missed tackles will kill you in the NFL. You can't do that. All right, next we're going to zoom up to 3:18. Again, I give you the time references so that you can go and look at them yourself if you want. If you have the NFL package, it will let you go and check this out yourself. Okay, here we go. Now we have got here, we got deuce, and then we got your standard offensive line 5. So 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're in a balanced formation. So interestingly, we are mirroring both sides. We're not doing inversion. So you got 2 here and 2 there. And watch this spread. He's gonna spread out those defensive backs and force them to play, but he's not actually going to attack them necessarily. We're going to come here, okay, and there we go. Now we can see it's a running play. We've done it out of a passing formation. We spread this defense out. We've created a scenario where the back, again, here's that kind of that zone concept going on here. Okay, all the linemen are sliding their blocks. They're taking the defensive linemen in the direction that they want to go. Unlike a power game where you are trying to move a defensive lineman into a specific area, when you're talking about zone, you take the defensive linemen the way they want to go. So if they want to rush inside, you grab on and take them with you. If they want to rush outside, you grab on and you take them with you. The goal is to take them where they want to go so that you can push them hard and get them to move, to get the maximum amount of movement out of them, and you trust that somewhere along that front, one guy's going to go one way and another guy's going to go another way, and you're going to create a hole, which is why your back has to have the vision to see the hole. Now, as you can see here, this back sees the hole. The hole is going to be right here I wish I had some better tools. I hope I'll get them at some point. But if you look, you've had a pull around here. Your tackle has done a short pull. He should be taking this defensive linebacker whichever direction he wants to go. So if the linebacker comes outside, he should ride him outside. If the linebacker comes inside, he should pin him inside. The running back has already got his eyes on that tackle. Okay, he's already reading the block of that tackle. Let's see what happens. Oh no! Missed block. But I want you to look at this space. Had that tackle pinned him down like he was supposed to, okay, again, you look, he went, this tackle, it went the wrong way. Okay, let's go back. Here we go. Now that tackle right there, you can see that defensive end or that linebacker there is already setting up. Look at his hips. He is setting up to continue upfield. The tackle should read those hips and should already be aiming at his inside shoulder so that he can begin, so that as that linebacker steps up, he can cut him off, put his hat on his shoulder, and move him outside, creating that hole. He has not stepped down into the hole, which would force you to pin him. So that tackle should already be planning to put his hat on him. Unfortunately, what's going to happen is the tackle misreads him. The tackle goes to put his hat on the outside, and the linebacker just stops, and the tackle falls flat on his face, and the linebacker is able to go get the running back. So there you go. The tackle goes outside like he's going to pin him inside, instead of trusting the read the way he's supposed to, put his hat on the inside. Had he put his hat on the inside of that linebacker, look at that hole right there between where that guard or tight, I believe that's a guard there that has come down. Had he pinned him inside, you'd have had a massive gap there for the NFL. And that running back could have turned right up there, gone behind these two receivers. You're talking about easily 7 to 8 yards, break a tackle way more than that. This is the kind of outside running opportunity that the Bears have. So I'm a little nervous because right now that's Braxton Jones over there. And, sometimes he can be good and sometimes he's not. So the opportunity is there. Minnesota doesn't always cover the outside zone run all that well if it's blocked well. The defensive ends are not the greatest run defenders. They can be pushed down. You can push that line out of place. You can push that line out of balance. And unfortunately, they just don't. I really can't. I really can't tell you why. I'm not sure I understand why. But they do. So moving on, let's watch it now from the other angle and see what we've got. Okay, here you go. Now you see that? Okay, that big gapping right there between your guard and your tackle. The guard, I'm sorry, it's not the tackle. The tackle comes down. The guard is pulling around. And the guard is going to take that defensive end there with his hand in the dirt. Let's take a look. Okay, 58 just shucks him. But if he makes that block, this is a massive gain. It shows that the Vikings are vulnerable on the outside. You can run the outside zone against the Viking defense. It can be done. Johnson proved it here. Johnson can prove it again if the players are capable of pulling that off. Okay, moving along to 427. 427, again, for those of you who want to go do your own research. Switching now to the other side of the ball, let's take a look at what the Vikings are going to try to do. So here we go. We got motion. They're going to try to determine the coverage. Okay, and bang. Uh-oh, down they go. That's a big gain. That's what we can't have happen here. So now, it's not perfect because, again, the Lions play a 30 front, we play a 40 front. So this is a nickel package here. You have 4 down, you have 2, so you're playing a 4-2-3, or no, 4-2-5. I'm sorry. So you have your 2 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs. So here's your corner up here. Your nickel back is back here. 2 safeties, and your corner over there. So this defensive line should be facing up. So you should have straight up, straight up, straight up, outside contain. That nickel back has to maintain outside contain there. Linebacker controls this A gap. Linebacker controls this A gap. He's going to the far side linebacker is going to control that A gap. This linebacker, depending on how they shift this nose guard here, either into the B gap. What you're going to see is you're going to see him go the other way, which means he's going to have to play in that A gap based upon how hard that nose guard is going to come across the face. But that whole defensive line is going to shift down instead of staying true to their lanes. They're going to kind of bite on the offensive blocking. That move block that we talked about with the zone run, running back's going to see the hole open up between 32 and this defensive end here who comes down, and he's just going to ride that crease, and away he goes. So, I mean, here we go. There's the motion. Okay, boom, right there. That whole defensive line has skated down. Like we say they got put on roller skates. 84 came down and did a block on the safety who was coming up. Okay, you got just enough of a bump on that cornerback out there to create that crease. You got a block out here coming from the outermost receiver. Look at that hole. The running back is supposed to go between go right off of 75, but he sees the block that 84 has, and he's got good ball carrier vision. He's just going to decide to take it right up behind 84. Stay close to him, follow the block of the receiver that he sees out in front of him, and he's going to pick up massive yards. This is what can't happen to the Bears. Okay, this is what we have to be careful of. Our defensive line has to stay true to the running gaps. If we're running any fancy stunts or twists versus this Vikings offense, especially with the zone that they play, it's risky, especially on running downs. So I know everybody's excited about blitzes. Oh, blitz, blitz, blitz. You know, blitzes are fun. Blitzes are this, blitzes are that. But understand, when you run line stunts, in this case, I suspect, based on the heavy movement of that defensive line, that this was a call. I can't guarantee you that. Maybe they just all misread the play, and they all moved together with the offensive line's slide. That's always possible. But they moved really hard, which makes me think there's a good possibility that this was a call, like a slant call. And if we're doing stuff like that, we're going to get eaten alive by this offense because we're going to be creating holes for them. So if the Bears are wise, they're not going to be doing a lot of blitzing. It's going to be a lot of base personnel, which means every one of our defenders is going to have to play their gap properly, is going to have to stay in their gap and play their responsibilities so that we don't end up with plays like this. Again, we'll see it from the other side of the all-22. Okay, now there we go. They're going to watch this defensive line is just going to crash to the left. Again, that was so hard, so fast that it makes me think that was planned that way. And again, just watch. He's going to come all the way, try to get into this A gap. That's a bit crazy, even at the NFL level, for him to try to do that. So, I mean, they just come right back up behind him. Ball carrier sees that crease, and up he goes. That's outside zone running the way it's supposed to be done. And the way you combat that is you stay in your gaps, you stay in your lanes, you take care of your responsibility, you do what you need to do in order to be successful and set everybody up for success. Moving on to 6 minutes and 6 seconds. This will be our last one. Okay, here we go. So we've now got it looks like base personnel with a walked up safety, so almost like a bit of a 46 there. But it's really just a 34 with a walked up strong safety. Again, showing 3. You see tight trips over here with a tight end. So I mean, again, it looks like a pretty even matchup here. You have a base set against a base defense. Let's see what happens. There we go, that outside zone. Now this time they play it right. Everybody takes their responsibilities. This is what we need to see. Okay? Everybody stays in their gaps. Boom. Okay. So here's your defensive end has taken the tackle and is riding him out, forcing him out. Here is your DB outside linebacker keeping contain. Okay, so he has forced the ball up inside of him by getting up the field. That frees this linebacker here to flow into the hole and cut this running play off because everybody has executed properly and stayed in their assigned gaps in their assigned lanes. This is what the Bears are going to have to do to make the Vikings one-dimensional and force their rookie quarterback to throw. Again, I'm not going to get into the passing part of it because we don't know what this rookie quarterback is going to do. Maybe next week we'll have more passing, analysis. But right now, the key thing for the Bears is shutting down this running game and forcing this rookie quarterback making his first NFL start to come in and do what he can do. And I'm not. As anybody who's followed what I've written for a long time knows, I don't like rookies. I don't trust rookies, and I want to make a rookie prove every single thing. I think it's a really bad call, but I will take the W because they're willing to do it. So there you go. Steps up. Okay, everybody steps into the gap, and now we see minimal gain. If we can do this, and we can do this regularly, you're talking about a 1 to 1.5 yard gain there. If the Bears can do that with consistency and force the rookie to put the ball in the air, I think we have a good chance of walking away with this one, which leads me to my ultimate assessment of where we're going to go. I think the Vikings are going to score no more than 2 touchdowns. I give them 14 points total. I think the majority of their offense is going to be carried by their running backs, and if we can stop that, we are going to have a field day on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, we are going to have Williams read the blitz better. He's going to have to be ready to get the ball out of his hand. Flores is going to try to confuse him, is going to come after him. We know that Flores loves to blitz. It's very much up his alley to do so. And we know that Williams has struggled with the blitz in the past. So what we do know is that what Flores loves to do and what Williams is weak at are lining up. If I were Ben Johnson, I would be drilling, blitz response, blitz, taking advantage of blitzes every chance he gets this entire week. We'll see how that goes. But the quarterback's best friend this week is going to be a good running game. Force Minnesota to respect the running game. Force them to stay in base packages. Don't let them get into nickel as often as they'd like. Force Flores out of that dime and exotic looks so that you can get easy reads for your quarterback. The way you make this easy for Williams is you get 150 to 160 yards on the ground. Force the Vikings to stay truer to their base defense so that Williams can look at it and dissect it at the line of scrimmage much easier. If the running game is really getting put out of commission, and Williams is having to read 6 defensive backs, 5 defensive backs with movement, or 6 defensive backs in a nickel position because they've gone to a 4-1-5 or something like that, it's going to be really, really tricky for Williams. He's going to have to read these Flores tricks and disguises, and that's going to be tough for him. So I really think the Bears need to get Swift going early. They need to come out and set a tone with the run game to get Williams some easy looks in the passing game. I would expect Williams to come out. I would actually. I'm kind of expecting the Bears to come out and throw the ball on the first play. I know that sounds a little odd to some people, but I think they're going to try to get Williams something in the short range slant intermediate throw that he can just basically give him an easy binary read, an A/B read based on a tight formation, a bunch formation, where he just reads one cornerback. Cornerback goes this way, throw to A. Cornerback goes that way, throw to B. Very, very, very simple read to kind of get his hand in the game, get him a completion, and get him going. Is that going to happen? I don't know. That's just what I think. That and $1.50 will buy you a cheap cup of coffee somewhere. Anyway, I hope this was enjoyable for you. I hope you got a chance and kind of know what to look for in this game and have an opportunity to see. My final prediction is Bears 24, Vikings 14, and the Bears will win this game. Again, I'm not a prognosticator. I told you from my initial video, don't count on those because I'm new to the game, but that's what I think it'll be based upon what I see, and we'll have to see what happens. Until next time, Bears fans, bear down.